dinner time."
"What?" cried Gideon, plunging for his watch. "And so it is. Great heaven, the piano should have been here hours ago." Mr. Bloomfield was clambering back into his boat, but at these words he paused. "I saw it arrive myself at the station. I hired a carrier man. He had a round to make, but he was to be here by 4 at the latest," cried the barrister. "No doubt the piano is open and the body found."
"You must fly at once," cried Mr. Bloomfield. "It's the only manly step."
"But suppose it's all right?" wailed Gideon. "Suppose the piano comes, and I'm not here to receive it? I shall have hanged myself by my cowardice. No, Uncle Ned, inquiries must be made in Padwick. I dare not go, of course. But you may. You could hang about the police office, don't you see?"
"No, Gid, no, my dear nephew," said Mr. Bloomfield, with the voice of one on the rack. "I regard you with the most sacred affection, and I thank God I am an Englishman, and all that. But not the police, Gid."
"Then you desert me?" said Gideon. "Say it plainly."
"Far from it, far from it," protested Mr. Bloomfield. "I only propose caution. Common sense, Gid, should always be an Englishman's guide."
"Will you let me speak?" said Julia. "I think Gideon had better leave this dreadful houseboat and wait among the willows over there. If the piano comes, then he could step out and take it in. And if the police come, he could slip into our houseboat, and there needn't be any more Jimson at all. He could go to bed, and we could burn his clothes, couldn't we, in the steam launch? And then really it seems as if it would be all right. Mr. Bloomfield is so respectable, you know, and such a leading character, it would be quite impossible even to fancy he could be mixed up with it."
"This young lady has strong common sense," said the Squirradical.
"Oh, I don't think I'm at all a fool," said Julia, with conviction. "But what if neither of them come?" asked Gideon. "What shall I do then?" "Why, then," said she, "you had better go down to the village after dark, and I can go with you, and then I'm sure you could never be suspected. And even if you were, I could tell them it was altogether a mistake."
"I will not permit that. I will not suffer Miss Hazeltine to go," cried Mr. Bloomfield.
"Why?" asked Julia. Mr. Bloomfield had not the least desire to tell her why, for it was simply a craven fear of being drawn himself into the imbroglio. But with the usual tactics of a man who is ashamed of himself, he took the high hand.
"God forbid, my dear Miss Hazeltine, that I should dictate to a lady on the question of propriety," he began.
"Oh, is that all?" interrupted Julia. "Then we must go, all three."
"Caught," thought the Squirradical.
Chapter 12.